Welcome to SWTV, Sylvia with the Voice, your ultimate source for the most abnormal news and wildest reactions on the internet. I'm Sylvia, and we need to talk about what is happening in these streets. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button because it's about to get weird. Let's go. Okay, y'all, the TikTok streets are talking, and when I tell you people are dissecting this Nolan Wells case from every possible angle, I mean every angle. Timelines, interviews, screenshots, body language, old statements, you name it. TikTok has a theory about it. But today we're going to do something important. We're going to listen to what the streets are saying while spreading what's actually been verified from what's simply going viral. Grab your tea because we have a lot to discuss. Let's get into it, y'all.
Questions I believe that we should all have as concerned citizens in the United States of America surrounding the Nolan Wells investigation and case. 1. What teenage boy decides to stay on an island 10 miles off the coast of Mississippi without his phone, without his wallet, without any guaranteed ride back to the mainland? The argument was made that phones are put up in dry storage. Okay, but at the point that he consciously chose to stay on the island with the girl, allegedly, why would he not grab his phone and take it with him just in case he was unable to hitch a ride with some stranger back to the mainland? What was his plan to get back to the mainland? Question number 2, why isn't anybody talking about this comment allegedly from Bart Edmondson saying, I just want you to know Nolan was a friend of mine. I want justice and the facts to come out. I just want you to know I live in Wyoming and have not been to Pass Christian for over a year. I grieve for Nolan and want the same as everyone else. Thank you for your support. This was super early in this case, in this investigation, before it blew up. Has anybody verified whether or not this was really Bart Edmondson's comment? And if not, who would have information about where Bart lives to know that he lives in Wyoming, plays football there, and that he would not be in Mississippi at this time, or that he would potentially not be at the scene of where Nolan Wells went missing? And why would they create a quote-unquote burner account to respond to people in comments? I don't believe this piece of evidence is talked about enough. We do know that very early on, after it blew up, after all of this, they all deactivated their social media accounts and went ghost completely off the internet while lawyering up. Number 3, why would Sheriff Ledbetter, who is overseeing this case, immediately within hours after finding Nolan Wells' body, say to the general public that they suspect no foul play in an ongoing investigation? Number 4, which is tied to 3, why would Governor Tate Reeves reiterate what the Sheriff Ledbetter had said about suspecting no foul play, knowing that their words carry weight? In fact, Governor Reeves says he doesn't know much about the case, he just suspects that there's no foul play. Question number 5, which is tied to 3 and 4. Has anybody verified this alleged photo of Bart's father, who is also a doctor in Ocean Springs, Mississippi, and the governor of Mississippi, who said early on they suspected no foul play? 6, has anybody connected Elizabeth Edmondson to Governor Tate Reeves as being appointed on the Board of Health for the state of Mississippi? Which leads me to question number 7. Why won't they do an independent and joint investigation of Nolan Wells' phones with the forensic evidence? Given the fact that there are a lot of ties to powerful people, allegedly, with appointments to the Board of Health and whatnot, could you maybe understand why the family of Nolan Wells would be hesitant to turn anything over to law enforcement and expect no foul play on their end? Question number 8, if you genuinely suspected no foul play, then why would you refuse to send the throat over to the independent autopsy done by Nolan Wells' legal team? Question number 9, if you genuinely believe that Nolan Wells stayed back on an island with a girl, and then you go on to say that you thought that maybe he would have been asleep on the couch or something, then why would you call the Coast Guard at 11 p.m. on July 4th to report him missing or suspect that something was wrong? In the interview with Brandon Tatum, you initially thought that the search party was overreacting because you assumed Nolan had just crashed on someone's couch. But also, why would you call the Coast Guard then if they were overreacting? Like, which one is it? Question number 10. Allegedly, the phone call to Cito was made around 4 o'clock. When giving coordinates to the Cito operator, Vicky, she specifically asked after hearing the coordinates, are you on Horn Island? Like directly on Horn Island, she was asking. And you said no, you were sinking and you were not aground, but you were off of the island. Well, why does the GPS data from the boat say that you left Horn Island at 4:31 p.m.? What exactly was going on during that time that we could hear in the background of Wyatt being distracted with the commotion while also trying to have a conversation with the CETO operator? Question number 11, why and how did the CETO get canceled? You were on the phone with CETO when she transferred over to the captain of CETO. He had already spoken to the grandfather who said to cancel it, that you didn't need it. So there were two things going on at the same time here. Well, really three if you count the commotion in the background. Question number 12. Why did somebody scream, "Oh my God," and "Damn it, Bart"? Are you telling us that we did not hear "Damn it, Bart"?
Damn it, Bart.
And finally, my last question, at least for now, why is everybody getting upset that we're even asking questions? Nolan's family deserves justice.
You agreed that there would be a joint investigation into the cell phone extraction investigation, but you're saying you need to drop the phone off at the office on August 14th at 9 a.m. That doesn't strike me as a joint investigation. That strikes me as, give us the phone, we'll go through it, and then we'll get back to you later. The second reason why it's impractical is because at the time, the Wells family was actually nowhere near Mississippi or nowhere near an area where they could actually drop it off and be compliant with that deadline. So those are the two main reasons why. Now again, you guys can read the letter yourself, but this now makes sense. This is why the family is so concerned, and this is why the family is so upset. Because the DA now is essentially going back on what they said, saying, we want you to drop off the phone on August 14th, when on July 15th, they said, we will do a joint investigation together. This is why the Wells family is so frustrated with this investigation. And this is why they're trying to get the Department of Justice involved. This is why all the leadership are getting involved in this, is because the family was under the expectation that the district attorney in Jackson County, Mississippi, was going to do a joint investigation based on the July 15th meeting. We just found out they may not want to do a joint investigation anymore. They're asking the Wells family to drop off the phone on August 14th at 9 a.m., which has already passed. But still, just drop off the phone. That's not the same as offering a joint investigation.
I've chimed in on the Nolan Wells of it all yet because I'm still synthesizing the information. But I just watched a video. It is midnight. I just finished a workout and something clicked. I watched a video that made something else click that I watched earlier today, and that's this. The kid calls for a tow. The woman, Vicky, calls the captain to do the tow. And she says, this kid's grandfather, this Jerry Ackerman, is a member. Before she says the guy's name, the captain says, Jerry? I just got off the phone with him. I literally just got off the phone with him. And he said that they don't need a tow, that they're fine. So, hold on. The grandson is calling for the tow simultaneous to the grandfather calling the captain of the towboat saying they don't need a tow before the captain gets a call from Vicky. When did the kid call the grandfather? While the boat is sinking, he called grandfather for what could grandfather possibly do for you? He called the grandfather for what the fuck do we do? This kid's dead. Grandfather said, you got to make a trail that you tried to get help. There was an accident, something happened, the boat's going under. Okay, it's a boat. Call. So there is a recording of you trying to get help for something, and we'll figure it out later. I think that their story has evolved.
This creator actually raises an interesting question. I'm not saying I agree with the conclusion, but the question itself is worth discussing.
But that was what the grandfather thought of then, to create a timestamp in history of what was happening, what they were doing, where they were, and that there was a completely different emergency happening, nothing to do with Nolan, okay? And the grandfather did not want to get billed for this tow, and obviously didn't want the captain to go and happen upon whatever the fuck's going on, so he preempts the emergency call to the captain and says, hey, you might get a call, but they don't need it. I walked them through it, it's fine. It was an alibi advised by the grandfather. You remember the Murdoch documentary series? You remember that, right? You remember when his son were all in a boating accident, right? And how they completely jumped into action immediately without skipping a fucking beat to do a cover-up. They all get back, they all wipe all of, in unison, all wipe their social media. Why would you have to do that? Well, why to do that? If you left him on the island, why are you deleting all of your social media? Another thing.
Here's what I want to know. Has TikTok helped you understand this case better? Or has social media overall made it harder to figure out what's actually true? Out of all the theories you've heard about Nolan Wells, which one do you believe investigators need to address publicly and why?
Another thing.
I couldn't imagine that they want to get underage drinking on camera. So what they had articulated to me, that it wasn't abnormal for people not to snap and not to do a lot of pictures and things like that, because they were focused on
But you
being
told me
off of the
they
main
showed
man.
you pictures and videos.
Yeah,
so
but
they
it's
did
not
take
uploaded.
pictures and videos.
No. It's not a lot of pictures, and they weren't uploaded.
Brandon, because he is spinning his wheels here, trying to convince Nancy that the boys were telling the truth. They let me see their videos on their phones.
Fine all-American boys. Fine boys.
And that, of course, they wouldn't want to film themselves drinking. They all film themselves drinking. No, but they wouldn't upload it onto Snap. Here's why he just... The mother, one of the first days after this all happened, the mother said, we wanted his phone because he had snapped, and we wanted to see the snaps that he had snapped. And the snaps were deleted. So she had seen his snaps. The whole point of Snapchat is that you are able to post things that maybe you don't want a record of, but at least everyone knew you were having fun. The stuff deletes. You know if someone screenshots it. So he had absolutely snapped. They wanted to go into his phone, into his account, because you can see your historic snaps, and those were gone. And today, Crump, the family via Crump, subpoenaed Snapchat and Meta. Why would they do that if they didn't absolutely see his snaps that those kids deleted? And this Brandon Tatum is helping them cover it up. Ew, Brandon Tatum.
The TikTok streets may keep talking, but ultimately TikTok doesn't determine what happened to Nolan Wells. The evidence does. Social media can raise questions, uncover old statements, and keep attention on the case, but we cannot allow theories to become convictions in the court of public opinion. Keep asking questions, keep checking sources, and most importantly, let's keep Nolan at the center of this conversation. Please remember to comment, like, subscribe. We'll continue the conversation in the comments below. Please remember to be mindful and respectful, and I'll see you in the next video.